Guys, we need to talk about a feature in phones that nobody seems to be talking about. Gigabit LTE. Now, as the name implies, it's LTE that is capable of delivering up to 1 gigabit per second speeds. Now, I managed to, in San Francisco, in the real world, not a lab, get over 400 megabits per second. Let me explain. Essentially, there are a few LTE technologies that Qualcomm has managed to put into their chipsets and OEM devices, as well as the carriers have managed to implement on their network side, that when all of them are working together in like this perfect storm of tech, it enables the phones, the ones out right now, to get ridiculous speeds. The tech I'm referring to is carrier aggregation, which is the ability for a carrier to utilize multiple frequencies on their towers to be able to send data to and from your phone, essentially widening the amount of the lanes on the highway that you can use. 256 QAM, they call it, which is a way for there to be 33% more data per packet, which means basically less trucks on the road. And MIMO 4x4, which is the concept of having 4 antennas in the phone to not just be able to pick up signal better, but also increase the speed since there are more ports for the device to use to send and receive data. Now, technically, if all 3 of these features are enabled on your phone and on the tower, boom, Gigabit LTE speeds. But there is a bonus feature. It's called LAA, or Licensed Assisted Access, that allows carriers to use their licensed spectrum, their radio waves, and combine it with bands of unlicensed spectrum, the frequencies that are allowed to be used by anyone, to further increase speeds, and this just makes it that much more likely to get to the top end of those theoretical 1 gigabit speeds. Using a phone with this built in and being near one of those LAA towers with all of the other features enabled in San Francisco, I was hitting over 400 megabits per second easy. Now compare that to the national average of about 23 megabits per second, and I think you get the idea, which is insane. I mean, the possibilities of that kind of speed on your mobile device are awesome, and it also has other benefits for everybody else on the network. But first, let's talk about the speed. Now perhaps you're at an airport and boarding gets called. But you forgot to download your entertainment for the flight. Instead of using the airport Wi-Fi, which is usually crap, you can connect to your phone and download a game and even maybe an entire season of a show before your group is called. Working or studying from a coffee shop? Well, let's forget the crappy Wi-Fi speeds in there and tether to the phone instead. Heck, give everybody in the cafe Wi-Fi. With those kinds of speeds and bandwidth, you could all be streaming 4K movies at the same time and not slow any of you down. To that point, the average download speed of a person's home internet in the US as of September 7th of this year is about 64 megabits per second. Now this is way faster than that even. And so with this new tech, I feel like we might actually be at the tipping point where mobile data is starting to surpass broadband. Also, that speed is pushing past read-write speeds on your average mobile device, which means, technically, you can grab data from the cloud faster than what's stored on your actual local phone. Now this means that app developers can use that instead of your precious internal storage to house data, perform computations on more powerful servers and send the results back, etc. Even beyond that, what about new levels of streaming quality? With that speed and the super low latency of Gigabit LTE, streaming 4K 360 content to multiple devices over the tower airwaves, not an issue. And it's not just about speed. Because of the way that it's designed, it's actually also more reliable in areas that don't have great coverage too. And we've all been in that situation. Think of the difference between being able to stream YouTube versus staring at the buffering symbol. Now, remember how I said Qualcomm's Gigabit LTE can help other people on the network too? Well, as more and more devices on the network become Gigabit LTE enabled, it ends up increasing speeds across the board. Even for non-gigabit devices, because the gigabit devices are able to access what they want on the network faster, get off the spectrum faster, and relieve congestion for everybody. Now, maybe you've heard of 5G, the next big jump in the data tech for smartphones and basically everything. Think of this maybe then as kind of 4.5G. It's a stepping stone between what we have now and 5G, which is coming soon. And it's an important one. Now, Gigabit LTE is a way of ensuring that as 5G is rolled out like 4G was, and you lose a 5G connection, you're still getting awesome speeds. Okay, so when, where, and how, David? Well, the short answer is now, in a lot of places already, and pretty easily. The longer answer is that this tech is already in a bunch of flagship phones that you already know, and all of the major operators are rolling it out not just in the US, but in over 25 countries, and that number is increasing rapidly. Remember the concept of Gigabit LTE relieving congestion on the network? The operators are psyched about that, and it's a big factor in them pushing this out as fast as they are. It's really a win for everyone. As for the how, simply head to the link I left below to check out all of the devices that are capable of doing this new awesome feature. And then maybe next time you're in a Best Buy or another store, make sure to ask the guy for one of these devices, and then boom, you got the feature. There you go, guys. Now, when Qualcomm approached me about this, I was like, this is crazy. They showed it to me like a non-demo version, like an actual, just like, here we are on the street, this works. And I was like, people need to know about this, right? Let me know what you guys think though in the comments about Gigabit LTE and all this stuff. I'm truly interested in what you guys have to say. Otherwise, if you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe. All of that stuff is greatly appreciated. And as always, regardless, thanks for watching.